revealed. The incredible truth that will transform how you see yourself forever. You are amazing. Jessica woke before the sun had even thought about rising. The quiet of the morning, just a thin veil over the chaos to come. She dragged herself through another day at the diner. Her family's lifeblood and the heart of a small Midwest town. With a cup of burnt coffee in hand, she glanced at her sleeping son, Tyler, dreaming away in a sea of dinosaur pajamas. Each day was a battle, a fine balance of late-night shifts and morning school drop-offs. The weight of the diner's struggles pressed down harder, but Jessica brushed it off like a stubborn crumb on her apron, convinced hard work would save them. "Mommy, I want pancakes." Tyler's eager voice pierced the calm, and a smile broke across her face despite her fatigue. She could juggle pancake orders and homework assignments like a pro. It was a badge of honor in a world that often wore her down. But deep inside, she felt a yearning for more than just survival. As the sun climbed, it would bring the regulars to the diner, their faces a comforting blur of familiarity. Old Mr. Thompson, a local war veteran, sat in his usual corner booth, the aroma of coffee swirling around him like a cloak of nostalgia. He had a knack for weaving stories of resilience, and his warm eyes often held a spark that ignited something within her. One fateful morning, he noticed Jessica's slumped shoulders and leaned in. "You know, every soldier has to believe in something more than what's in front of them," he said, a challenge wrapped in kindness. His words hung in the air long after he left the diner, and as she washed the dishes, Jessica couldn't shake the thought. She remembered her dream of becoming a chef, of creating new dishes rather than just serving pancakes. Could she dare to reach for that culinary grant? It felt impossible, like trying to touch the stars. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days passed, a video of her tearful preparation of the diner's anniversary special dish went viral, bursting into the lives of strangers far beyond her small town. Her exposed vulnerability touched hearts, drawing in an unexpected wave of support, but also judgment from those she loved. Jessica found herself at a crossroads, her dreams and her family's expectations colliding with turbulent force. An awkward family gathering. As the tension simmered beneath forced smiles, Jessica spoke about her plans. Gasps echoed around the table, silence stretching uncomfortably. "You're going to ruin everything," her uncle spat, while her mother's face turned pale. The weight of their disapproval pushed down like lead, but somewhere, a flicker of defiance grew. She could either sink back into the shadows or stand tall, shattering the expectations that had held her down for so long. Jessica's heart raced, knowing she stood on the brink of change. Could she finally start to see herself as the amazing woman Mr. Thompson believed her to be? Or would she retreat, letting fear stifle the flickering flame of hope that had finally ignited within? The choice loomed, and for a brief moment, everything hung in the balance. The morning after the family gathering, Jessica sat alone at the kitchen table, fingers wrapped tightly around her coffee mug, her heart heavy with doubt. The sun rose bright, but its light felt cold, like the words of her family echoing in her mind. "You're going to ruin everything." The phrase replayed over and over, drumming into her resolve. Tyler bounced into the room, his bright smile reminiscent of sunshine breaking through clouds. "Mommy, can we make cupcakes today?" His innocent request drew a tiny smile, grounding her for a moment. She nodded, feeling the weight slightly lift, if only for a moment. In his laughter, she found a spark of courage. Maybe dreams were worth it. As the day unfolded, aside from cupcakes, she decided to take a small step toward her culinary aspirations. She pulled out the applications for the culinary grant, her heart racing with every word she read. The thought of a class of professional training ignited a fire in her she thought had long been extinguished. That day, She poured her heart into the application, translating the love she felt for cooking into a single cohesive idea she hoped would leap off the paper. But the closer she got to clicking submit, the more intense the fear became. What if they laughed at her? What if she failed? "Mommy, look at my cupcake." Tyler's voice broke through her thoughts as he proudly held up a ridiculously decorated treat, frosting smeared everywhere. She laughed, thankful for the distraction. "It's beautiful, buddy." Encouraged by his joy, Jessica took a deep breath and clicked the button, sending her application out into the universe. Almost immediately, a wave of nausea washed over her. What had she just done? She glanced at her phone, half expecting an instant flood of messages telling her she was foolish, but nothing came. Just silence. The days blurred, each one unfolding in a rhythm that was both familiar and unsettling. The diner thrummed with life as usual, and yet, she felt a subtle shift inside her. Mr. Thompson visited regularly, surprising her with encouragement just when she needed it. "I believe in you, Jessica. Greatness doesn't bow down to fear." His words stirred her spirit, pushing her forward. 2 weeks passed, and her feelings of doubt began to feel heavy again. Her family's faces danced back into her mind at the worst moments. The burden of their expectations almost crushed her. But she wasn't alone. She had Tyler. His laughter was her lifeline as she busily made his lunches, occasionally slipping cupcakes into them to brighten his day. Then, late one afternoon, while tidying up the diner, Jessica received a notification on her phone. Her heart raced as she clicked it open, a mix of hope and dread swirling together. It was from the culinary school. She held her breath, the hum of the diner fading into the background. It was time for answers. What if she muttered under her breath, eyes flickering between the screen and the bustling diner? Her thumb hovered over the message, the weight of possibility coursing through her veins. What if it was good news? What if it was everything she dreamt of? Or what if it was the crushing news she feared? With trembling hands, she opened the message at that moment. Every possibility crashed against her heart, and she felt the world pause. The choice lay before her. What did this news mean for her, for Tyler, for the diner, and what would she do next? As the silence enveloped her, one question loomed larger than the rest. Would she finally have the courage to embrace the amazing journey ahead? Jessica's heart did a dance of its own as her eyes skimmed the message. It was no longer a blur but sharp and clear, the words resonating in a way that lit up her insides. "Congratulations. We are thrilled to inform you." The rest of the message faded into the background. She was in. She had been accepted into the culinary program. A rush of joy exploded in her chest, mingled with fear and disbelief. For a moment, just a moment, she felt weightless, as if she could float above the diner and the burdens that had anchored her down for so long. "Mommy?" Tyler's voice broke through her daze, pulling her back into the world around her. She looked down at him, his bright blue eyes full of curiosity. "Did you get a message? Are we going to make more cupcakes?" "Yes, baby." Her laughter, bright and free, burst forth like bubbles in sparkling water. "We're going to make all the cupcakes. But first, I have something incredible to tell you." As she knelt down to his level, a wave of her earlier doubts washed over her. "I got into a cooking school, Tyler. I'm going to learn to be a chef." He stared at her for a moment, the gears visibly turning in his young mind, and then a grin broke out across his face. "Like the lady on TV?" he asked, bouncing on his toes. "Yes, just like her." They both erupted in a giggle, the joy intermingling with momentum. Jessica felt strong, empowered in that moment, as if the acceptance fueled not only her dreams, but also ignited a new sense of self-belief. Yet the excitement was short-lived. Reality whispered its familiar doubts. Her family's voices crowded again, replaying their fears, and she felt the weight descend on her once more. What if she couldn't handle the classes? What if she failed the first time she tried to create something new? "Mommy, let us make the best cupcakes ever." Tyler's exuberance injected her with just enough courage to push aside the fears that lurked in her mind. There would be time to worry later. With her son's infectious excitement pulling her out of her thoughts, They dove into the kitchen together. Flour dust danced through the air as they mixed ingredients, laughter echoing off the walls. With each scoop of batter and swirl of frosting, Jessica felt more centered, more real. Here, in the simple act of creating something sweet, dreams felt tangible, attainable. As evening settled in, she placed the cupcakes in bright little boxes, ready for a spontaneous cupcake delivery to their neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. "She always loves our treats, doesn't she?" Jessica said, to which Tyler nodded fiercely, his joy overflowing as he clutched a box. When they delivered the cupcakes, the smile on Mrs. Patterson's face was the best reward. "These are marvelous, Jessica. You're so talented." Jessica's heart swelled. Words like that would motivate her through the challenges to come. As they walked home hand in hand, Tyler broke the silence. "Mommy, are you going to make the best food ever?" Jessica looked down at him, her heart brimming with hope. "Yes, buddy, I am." That night, she sat at her desk, overwhelmed with emotions, journals stacked beside her, notes filled with recipes and dreams. It was time to prepare for school, but also time to face her family. She needed to tell them what she was about to embark on. Fear crept in again, but determination outweighed it. When she thought about facing them, a shiver ran down her spine. Would they see the light she felt within, or were they forever shrouded in their doubt? Taking a deep breath, she whispered to herself, "It's time." This journey was just beginning, but she had no idea that the biggest challenge awaited her with her family. And who would stand by her side when it unfolded? Jessica sat on the edge of her bed, the glow from her bedside lamp illuminating her hopeful face. Her heart raced as she picked up her phone to text her sister, Lily. "Hey, can we talk tonight? I have something important to share." She knew that Lily would be the first family member to react, the one most likely to understand her dreams. If only she could muster the courage for the others. The minutes ticked by as she waited for a reply, her thoughts spiraling through every possible outcome. What if they laughed? What if they told her to get a real job again? In contrast, the words of Mrs. Patterson echoed in her mind. "You're so talented," could easily be replaced with, "You'll never make it in that business." Just then, Tyler peeked his head around the corner, his face smeared with chocolate from their earlier cupcake-making adventure. "Mommy, I need help," she chuckled, a wave of warmth washing over her. He always seemed to know when she needed a distraction. "What do you need, champ?" He bounded over, holding up a small Lego figure. "I can't get its head on. Help." With a chuckle, Jessica knelt beside him. The small figure was barely 1 inch tall, but it held a universe of imagination for her son. They worked together, struggling to fit the pieces just right, laughter filling the air. As they played, her fears faded, replaced by the simple joy of being in the moment. After a while, Tyler looked up and said, "Mommy, what's the surprise? You said you have something amazing." A lump rose in her throat. "Well, I got accepted into a cooking program and I really want to become a chef." She held her breath, waiting for his reaction. "What's a chef?" he asked, tilting his head like a curious puppy. With a smile, she explained, "A chef makes food. Beautiful food like the cupcakes we made, but also so many other things." His eyes widened, processing the information. "Can we make even more food? Like pizza or pasta?" "Absolutely. We'll learn to make everything." The excitement bubbled between them like soda pop, and for a moment, she felt renewed. But as bedtime rolled around, the reality of her family's reaction hung overhead like a dark cloud. After Tyler was tucked in, she took a deep breath and picked up her phone again. Lily replied quickly, "Of course. I'm all ears. When and where?" Jessica felt a small flutter of relief. She texted back, "How about my place in an hour?" The anticipation churned in her stomach. She had always been closer to Lily, a trusted confidant, and she hoped this meeting would fortify her resolve. After what felt like an eternity, the doorbell rang, and Jessica opened it to see her sister's familiar face, beaming with warmth. "Hey, sis." Lily pulled Jessica into a hug. "There's a spark in you today. What's going on?" Jessica led her to the kitchen. "I got into culinary school." Lily's eyes lit up. "What? That's amazing. Before she could continue, Jessica's nervousness bubbled over. But Mom and Dad want to take it serious. They think I should focus on something more stable. Lily frowned momentarily, her voice calm. That's crazy, Jess. You've always loved cooking. They'll come around. But in her heart, Jessica wasn't so sure. As they sat down, she braced herself for the hard conversation ahead. Are you prepared for pushback? Lily asked gently. No. But what if they just can't see it? Lily wrapped her hand around Jessica's. But what if they can? What if this is the moment things change? Jessica felt a flutter of uncertainty mixed with hope. Could she muster the strength to fight for her dreams? To show her family the woman she was becoming? The answer began forming in her mind. She half knew it was inevitable. But would she have the courage to stand firmly beside it? As they talked late into the night, Jessica felt a budding resolve building within her. It was time for her voice to be heard. But as morning approached, she couldn't shake the thought that maybe, just maybe, the most difficult challenge wasn't just her own self-doubt. What if their response was as heavy as her own fears? Little did she know, a storm brewed ahead, one that threatened to either redevelop their bond or fracture it forever. Jessica awoke the next morning, sunlight streaming through the curtains, illuminating the kitchen where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee hung in the air. She glanced at the clock and felt the familiar anxiety pinging in her stomach. Today was the day she would tell her parents about culinary school. She felt her heart flutter, a mix of anticipation and dread. As she sipped her coffee, she could hear Tyler humming as he played in his room. His carefree spirit reminded her of the hope she felt when she first got the acceptance letter. That moment of elation, however, seemed so far away from the tightness in her chest now. She thought back to last night's conversation with Lily. Her sister's unwavering belief in her talent stirred something deep inside. But as the clock ticked on, the weight of doubt began to settle in. When her parents arrived for their usual Sunday brunch, Jessica could feel the tension coiling in her stomach like a spring. They greeted her with warm hugs and the sweet aroma of cinnamon rolls wafting in from the oven. Her mom, with her bright smile and sun-kissed hair, noticed her unease instantly. "Are you all right, honey? You look a bit pale," her mother asked, concern filling her voice. "I'm fine," Jessica replied a tad too quickly. "Just a little tired." As they settled at the dining table, plates piled high with fresh fruit, fluffy pancakes, and melting butter, she watched their faces lit up with joy. Their laughter drowned out her rustling thoughts. Tyler dashed around the table, demanding hugs and giggles, filling the room with light. After they finished eating, Jessica felt the moment creep into view like the calm before a storm. She set her fork down, her heart racing. "Mom, Dad, there's something important I need to share." Her parents exchanged curious glances, and Jessica continued, "I got accepted into culinary school." Silence hung in the air like a deep breath held too long. "What?" her dad asked, the surprise evident on his face. "What do you mean, culinary school?" "I want to be a chef," she stated, her voice shaky, but louder than the noise in her head. "This is my dream, and I want to pursue it." Her mother looked momentarily stunned, then replied, "Jessica, that's not a stable career. Have you thought this through?" Each word was a blow. Jessica clenched her jaw, holding back the flood of emotions threatening to spill over. "I have thought it through. Cooking is not just about food for me. It's my passion. I want to create beautiful dishes and share love through my cooking." "But you have a biology degree," her father interjected, disbelief written all over his features. "You could pursue something reliable, something that pays well. Cooking can pay off too." Jessica's voice rose, surprising herself. "You both always told me to follow my passion. This is me doing that." In that moment, she felt the floodgates about to open. Was it anger? Fear? Or was it the stirring of energy behind her dreams? Her mother sighed, rubbing her temple. "This is just worrying. We want you to be safe, Jess. Or you want me to be what you expect." The words were out before she could catch them. Silence enveloped the room, thickening the air. Jessica's chest tightened as she prepared herself for the fallout. The words echoing through her mind, what if they didn't see her for who she truly was? Tyler, sensing the shift in energy, looked between them with wide eyes. "Mommy, I want to make food with you." That simple statement cracked through the tension, and Jessica took a breath. She could feel the love, the unwavering support of her son, and for a moment, it was enough. "Mom, Dad," she started tentatively, "I need you to trust me. I can do this. I want to show you how serious I am." But the uncertainty lingered, a storm brewing just below the surface. As her parents exchanged uneasy glances, Jessica's heart raced with both hope and dread. She knew their reaction could shift everything: her dreams, her passion, her very identity. The challenge lay ahead. Would they embrace her aspirations, or would she have to carve her own path, possibly alone? The answer felt just out of reach, like a needle caught in a stack of tangled threads. The silence pressed heavily against Jessica's chest. The air felt dense with unsaid words, a lingering cloud of disappointment and confusion hanging over the table. She pulled her hands into her lap, the warmth of her son's small fingers brushing against her thigh. "Make food together?" Tyler repeated, his innocent voice cutting through the tension. He had no idea what was at stake, but his eyes sparkled with pure enthusiasm. Jessica wanted to grab onto that joy, to claim it and shield it from the darker fears swirling in her mind. "Yeah, buddy," she croaked out, forcing a smile for him. "We will definitely cook together." But her smile faded as she turned to her parents, whose expressions mirrored a whirlwind of emotions: concern, disbelief, and a hint of anger. "What you're asking us to do is..." "It's a big leap," her dad finally said, the gravel in his voice betraying his struggle to understand. "I know, Dad," Jessica confessed, feeling small. "But this is my chance. I've never felt more certain about anything in my life. And what if it doesn't work out?" He shot back. "I can't watch you fail." Jessica felt the heat rise in her cheeks. "But what if it does?" she countered, her heart pounding. "What if I can create something amazing? Something that could change everything?" Her mother met her gaze. The soft blue of her eyes filled with a conflict between love and worry. "We just want to protect you, Jess," she said softly. "You're our daughter. We've always thought of your future in a different light." "Maybe that's the problem," Jessica retorted, her words sharper than she intended. "You think you know what my future should look like. But you don't. I need to try. I have to believe that I can do this." Tyler, sensing the shift, leaned closer to Jessica, eyes wide with concern. "Mommy, can I tell them my idea?" His voice quivered slightly, but there was a fire behind it, a determination not to be overlooked. "Sure, sweetheart. What is it?" Her voice dipped into a softer tone, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. "I want to help you in cooking. You can teach me, and we can make super yummy food, and then we can open a restaurant, and it'll be the best one ever," he exclaimed, his little fists pumping with excitement. Jessica laughed, the sound bubbling up as if it had been locked away. She caught a glimpse of her parents' faces, tension slowly dissipating as they watched their grandson with amusement mixed in with disbelief. "See?" she insisted, her heart swelling. "Could be something beautiful." A small glimmer of acceptance flickered across her mother's face. "I can see how you've thought about this, Jess. But it doesn't just impact you. What about Tyler?" "He'll be by my side," Jessica assured her, igniting a newfound vision of them cooking together, creating memories and meals that held their love like a warm hug. "I want to involve him in this. Show him what it means to follow your passion." Jessica turned to her son, the fierce love for him igniting her resolve. "If we all believe in this together, we can make something wonderful." Her parents exchanged glances again, this time something shifting in their expressions. Struggling against her nerves, Jessica continued, "Please, just give me a chance. Let me prove to you that I can do this." Her mother sighed, running a hand through her hair as her breathing steadied. "I don't want you to be disappointed, but I see you're determined." Jessica felt hope sparking like a candle flickering to life. "I'll work hard. I promise you won't regret it." But as the tension finally began to ease, a rush of doubt surged in Jessica's mind. What if they could never fully support her? She glanced down at Tyler, his eager eyes now focused back on his toy, blissfully unaware of the brewing storm of uncertainty in their lives. The moment stretched, and Jessica realized that the answer might be all she had dreamed of, or it might not be enough to overcome their doubts. "Just remember, Mommy," he said, glancing up with a grin, "you're amazing. You always make everything yummy. Can you promise me there will be cookies?" "Of course, buddy. There will always be cookies," she replied, a half-smile breaking through her apprehension. But as her laughter faded, Jessica knew the hardest part was yet to come. Would she be strong enough to chase her dream against all odds? And just like that, she heard a voice from deep within whispering, "But what if it takes everything to make it work?" The morning sun poured through the kitchen window, illuminating the room in a warm, golden glow. Jessica stood at the counter, gathering her ingredients with Tyler bouncing at her side. He was wielding a wooden spoon like a maestro, his smile infectious as he drummed it against the countertop. Her heart fluttered with joy while a knot of anxiety still twisted in her stomach. "Okay, Chef Tyler," she said, kneeling to his level, her brow furrowing slightly. "What are we making today?" "Cookies," he exclaimed, eyes sparkling. "The biggest ones ever. And chocolate chips, too." Jessica chuckled, caught in the whirlwind of his enthusiasm. "Chocolate chip cookies it is." As they mixed flour and sugar, the rhythmic clinks of measuring cups filled the air. Felt good to be active, to create something. Moments like this filled her with a sense of purpose, a fleeting reminder of her dream. She could almost visualize their restaurant, bustling with laughter and the aroma of fresh-baked goods wafting through the air. However, there was another sound lingering in the background. Her father's words echoed in her ears, shadowing her excitement. "What if you fail?" The weight of his concern tugged at her heart like an anchor. "Mommy!" Tyler's voice jolted her back to the present. He was perched atop a chair, holding 2 chocolate chips triumphantly. "Look, the cookies will be super yummy." She smiled and helped him sprinkle the chips into the mixing bowl. "They will be, my little baker." In that moment, she could feel the doubts washing away, if only for a second. This was her why. Every joyous laugh reinforced her resolve to chase the dream. Later that afternoon, as Jessica pulled the golden cookies from the oven, the room filled with a delightful warmth. Tyler's giggles echoed as he snagged one that was still too hot to touch, oblivious to the potential burns. She couldn't help but smile, finding comfort amidst the sweetness of their creation. "Can we give some to Grandma and Grandpa?" Tyler asked, wiping flour from his face. Jessica hesitated, the bittersweet truth of her parents' reluctance returning. "You know, sweetie, it might be a bit awkward." Tyler looked up, eyebrows knit together in confusion. "But they love them. They always love your cookies." As if struck by a sudden thought, Jessica's heart raced. What if this was the bridge? What if their love for cookies could soften her parents' hearts? "You might be right, buddy. Let us do it." With her mind made up, they packed a basket full of warm cookies, the sweet aroma wafting seductively. Jessica took a deep breath, her nerves bubbling beneath the surface. Could she show her parents that this dream was real? The drive to her parents' house felt endless, an uncertain weight pressing down on her. Tyler chattered excitedly in the back seat, oblivious to the storm brewing. As they pulled into the driveway, Jessica's heart pounded like a drum. What if this was a disaster? Each step toward the door felt monumental, but the moment she knocked, she steadied herself. Her mother opened the door, a hesitant smile painting her face. Curiosity danced in her eyes as she caught sight of the basket. "What's this?" "Cookies," Tyler exclaimed, pushing past Jessica and holding the basket high. Jessica's breath hitched as she watched her mother's expression transform. This was her chance to unveil her dream. But would they taste the truth behind every delicious bite? "Will you give us a chance?" Jessica whispered before she could stop herself, thoughts racing. "Please, can we make this work?" And just like that, she knew it wasn't just cookies they needed to share. The moment stretched, filled with anticipation. Would they embrace her dream, or would the doubts linger? As her mother reached into the basket, Jessica's heart hung in the balance. What would be their reaction? The silence hung in the air, thick and almost tangible. Jessica barely dared to breathe as her mother withdrew a cookie from the basket. The golden edges crinkled beautifully in the sunlight, and for a moment, time stood still. Her mother hesitated, inspecting the cookie with a concentrated gaze. Then, her lips curled into a smile that Jessica had longed to see. "It smells wonderful," she said softly, breaking the spell that had gripped the moment. "Try it," Tyler urged, practically bouncing on his toes. His little hands were ready to clap in glee, excitement bubbling in him as if he couldn't contain it any longer. With a nod of encouragement, Jessica bit her lip, watching as her mother took a small bite. The crunch of the cookie echoed in the stillness. Then silence reigned again. Jessica could feel her own heart racing as she waited, holding her breath. Her mother chewed thoughtfully, savoring the flavor, and Jessica's hope began to surge. The tiny muscles in her expression expanded with every passing second, wondering if this was her breakthrough. "Delicious, just like you always made," her mother finally exclaimed, a wave of warmth filling the doorway as she finished chewing. There was a hint of surprise in her voice, which made Jessica's heart flutter. "See? I told you, Grandma," Tyler chimed in, his small voice filled with pride. "Mommy's cookies are the best." Jessica's smile widened while her mother took another bite, this time more confidently. "You really haven't lost your touch." For just a blink, Jessica thought she saw uncertainty fade from her mother's eyes, replaced with a flicker of encouragement. "Thanks, Mom," Jessica confessed, seemingly igniting a spark. "I want to do more than just bake. I want to open a bakery, a real one." Her voice trembled slightly, revealing the raw vulnerability beneath her hopeful declaration. The happiness in her mother's face dimmed momentarily, replaced by that familiar doubt. "But, Jess, it's a big step," she said slowly. Jessica swallowed hard, the knot returning in her stomach, but she pushed forward. "What if I fail?" Her mother's voice was a soft echo of her father's concern, and Jessica felt the weight of it again. "I mean, what if it doesn't work out?" "Then I'll try again," Jessica responded, her voice steadier than she felt. "But maybe it could work if we believe in it together. I need your support." They stood there, generations intertwined by cookies and dreams, each silent heartbeat echoing the shared bond. Tyler wandered back to the kitchen, momentarily distracted by a crumb on the floor, unaware of the heavy conversation hanging right above his head. Jessica strained to make sense of her mother's expression. Would she keep grasping onto her fear, or could she let it go? "It's not just about cookies, Mom. It's about what they stand for: love, hope, dreams. This is our chance to start something wonderful." Moments passed like soft whispers in the breeze, and Jessica could practically see the wheels turning in her mother's mind. There was a flicker of doubt in her eyes, but also something else. A flicker of possibility. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, the tension was broken. Tyler darted back into the room, holding a sticky note he had snagged from the kitchen, waving it like a trophy. "Look, Mommy, I wrote something." Jessica chuckled softly, her heart warming at the sight of his innocence. "What does it say, buddy?" "I wrote we are the best bakers ever," he proclaimed. Tyler held it high, a proud grin stretching across his face. Jessica exchanged a glance with her mother. In that moment, they shared something deeper than words. Perhaps they were about to take a leap together. But just as a smile started to form on her mother's lips, the phone rang loudly, shattering the fragile atmosphere. It was like a reminder from the world outside that life was waiting, filled with its own demands. Jessica felt her heart sink, knowing that this call could pull them back into the shadows of doubt. What if this was the moment the tides turned against her? With the phone ringing insistently, she stood at the brink of hope, but which way would her mother lean? Would they dive into something new together, or would the expectations of the past hold them back? The answer hung just out of reach, and Jessica's heart pounded louder than ever. Would this be the beginning or the end? The phone rang again, insistent and harsh, cutting through the warmth that had gathered in the kitchen. Jessica's heart raced, its rhythm matching the shrill tones echoing against the walls. Her mother glanced at the phone, uncertainty clouding her expression again, and Jessica felt a tightening in her chest. "Should I get it?" her mother asked, her voice almost a whisper. The question hung between them, thick with unspoken emotions. "Maybe it's just a wrong number," Jessica offered, desperate to keep the sparkle of possibility alive. But her mother sighed, reaching for the phone with a resigned expression that told Jessica all she needed to know. "I should check. Could be important." As she pressed the button to answer, all of Jessica's hopes seemed to evaporate. The dream of a bakery, a place that felt like home, seemed to slip further away. Her mind raced, imagining all the conversations and doubts that had held them both back for years. She could barely catch a breath, waiting for her mother to respond. "Hello?" her mother said, her tone polite but distant. The voice on the other end murmured something, and Jessica could see her mother's brow furrow. While she listened, Jessica stole a glance at Tyler, who was busy flicking crumbs off the floor, his small fingers working with diligence. He looked so innocent and unaware of the looming tension. Jessica felt a swell of love for him, a warmth igniting her resolve. If she could create a place filled with joy, where he could feel safe and cherished, it would be worth the fight. "I see." Her mother's voice trailed off, and Jessica's stomach twisted at the weight of that simple phrase. It was the kind of sentence that could either slice through hope or build resilience. "Yes, I understand," her mother continued. When she finally hung up, her expression hadn't changed. "That was your Aunt Mary," she said slowly, each word loaded with unspoken feelings. "She's having some health issues." Jessica's heart sank. She rushed forward, holding onto her mother's arm. "What can we do to help her?" "We need to go see her, Jess." "It's serious," her mother replied, her voice wavering. The shadows crept back in, darkening the spark that had begun to flicker between them. In that moment, Jessica felt the world tilt. The bakery dream that had seemed so close just moments ago now looked impossibly far away. "But, Mom, what about our plans?" she said, trying to keep the tremor from her voice. "The bakery." "I know, honey," her mother said, her eyes softening. "But family comes first." That word echoed in Jessica's mind. Family. It filled her with both warmth and dread. What was she supposed to do when the passion fighting within her collided with her mother's fears? "Maybe we can talk about it more on the drive?" her mother suggested, sensing the storm brewing within Jessica. "Okay," she replied softly, her heart heavy but hopeful. After all, family was the very foundation of both her and the bakery dream. Maybe they needed a broader vision, one that included both. "Let us pack up a few things," her mother said, her tone shifting to practicality. Together they gathered what they would need, while Tyler, oblivious to the heavy air, hummed happily as he helped in his own little way, stuffing cookie crumbs into a box with great enthusiasm. Jessica forced a smile. This was their life, a tapestry woven from the sweet moments amid the challenges. But her heart was twisted. Would they ever have the courage to step into the future? As they headed towards the car, Jessica glanced back at the kitchen. The warmth of the cookies lingered, a reminder of unfulfilled dreams. She could still see the crumbs on the floor, the sticky note Tyler had written. The path before them was uncertain, but maybe there was still a place where their hopes could flourish. As they drove away, she fumbled with the edges of her own belief. Would they find a way to blend family and dreams? Just as the house disappeared in the distance, her mother turned to her, a flicker of determination igniting in her eyes. "Jess, let us not give up on the bakery dream. We'll make this work." And in that moment, an ember of hope sparked anew. But just as her heart began to lift, the phone vibrated on the dashboard. It was a text from an unknown number. Jessica's breath hitched. What if this was something that would change everything again? Would this connection bring them closer to understanding, or further from their dreams? Jessica felt a strange mix of excitement and anxiety as she glanced at the text. The words lit up the screen. "Hi, Jessica. This is Chef Mark from the culinary program. I wanted to reach out personally regarding our upcoming orientation. I can't wait to meet you." Her heart soared. This was real. She smiled, feeling the warmth of possibility flood her senses. She was on the brink of becoming who she was meant to be. "Did you see that, Mom?" she exclaimed, showing her the message. "This really is happening. I'm starting my journey." In that moment, her mother met her gaze, and for the first time, there seemed to be an understanding and acknowledgement of the dreams that had long been simmering beneath the surface. "That's wonderful, Jess," her mother said softly. "I know this means a lot to you." A sense of determination rose within Jessica, the kind that only comes from feeling seen and understood. She glanced back at Tyler, who was busy making sound effects for the imaginary cars racing in the back seat. "We can do this. Together." The drive to Aunt Mary's was quiet, but the air felt lighter, filled with a new sense of hope. The unexpected phone call about her aunt made Jessica realize life was unpredictable, and sometimes, embracing change meant facing hard truths. But it didn't mean she had to give up on her dreams. When they arrived, Aunt Mary was waiting, her smile fragile, yet bursting with love when she saw them. "Jessica, dear, thank you for coming." As her aunt shared stories filled with laughter, Jessica felt a realization wash over her. Family was the center of everything, the very ingredient grounding her culinary journey. In her aunt's stories, there was comfort, a reminder that love and food intertwined, carrying memories that last a lifetime. After a long evening of sharing warmth and sweetness, something shifted in her mother's expression. "Jess," she said, her voice steady, "maybe I was too quick to dismiss your dreams." Jessica's heart raced. "You really think so?" Her mother nodded slowly. "Seeing you take this step, it fills me with pride. It's time for us to create something together, as a family. Your dreams matter too." Tears pricked at Jessica's eyes. She felt a weight lift as if a cascade of joy washed through her. Her family could accept her journey, and she could forge ahead, side by side with them. "Thank you, Mom. That means the world to me." As they drove home, Tyler chimed in, "And we can all cook together. A family kitchen." Jessica couldn't help but smile. Yes, a family kitchen. They felt it then, a shared dream uniting them. It wasn't just about her becoming a chef. It was about fostering love and tradition, creating a legacy in every cupcake, cookie, and meal they shared. The path ahead still held challenges, but it felt brighter. With the sun setting in the distance, casting hues of gold and red, Jessica knew they were walking towards something wonderful. She had room for her passion, the bakery dreams, and her family, the roots keeping her grounded. Change and love intertwined, igniting a fire within her spirit. She turned to her mother, a radiant smile breaking across her face. "Let us do this together." In the warmth of those words, the future seemed limitless. Finally, the unspoken bonds of connection, love, and hope became the foundation of this next chapter. And with that, Jessica found peace in knowing that she was allowed to take up space in a world of her own choosing. Time to embrace the amazing journey ahead. Now, for everyone reading this story, it's your turn to join in on the journey too. You need to subscribe now to catch every exclusive story that inspires and uplifts. This is the moment to show your support. So hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep the positivity alive. Comment below your reactions and tell us how this ending made you feel. Your voices matter. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and ignite their own journeys. Let us spread the love and creativity together.